Hello, guys. Now, it has been over a year now that I have been making these videos, which is, of course, part of the reason why I decided to make a part 4 of this video. It's been a while since I made part 3 last year. Now, of course, that's also because a lot has happened since that time. And, as far as the definition of idolaters and or technosexuals, if you don't know already, basically an idolater is somebody that is dedicated towards having a love doll companion, basically. They are really into the role play of having a love doll, and sometimes they actually won't even have sex with them. They just like the personality that they've made up for their love doll, etc. I remember once I actually saw an older guy. He had over 300 love dolls, and I think I might have talked about this before. He had over 300 love dolls actually, and he didn't even sleep with one of them. He had real dolls, TPE dolls, etc. He had over 300 of them. Never had sex with one of them. He even had a wife. you know, Crazy to say the least. Anyway. anyway. So yeah, again. Oh yeah. And the word technosexual. Now, technosexual basically just means like somebody that is attracted to like cyborgs, robots and automatons. That's basically what that means. Anyway, so moving on to all of the weird ass experiences that I've been having since then, since my last alteration of this video. I mean, a lot has been going on, and some people that I've talked to about this on PSN, etc. You know, Again, like I just said in my last video, this has like become my second job. In fact, recently I have checked up on all my views on adult topic videos, and there's definitely a vast majority from all the views on my, adult topic videos. There's maybe a couple of video game videos left over that are still getting some views in the thousands, but for the most part, it's the love doll videos that I've made, or videos based on them. And I would say, probably helped educate over 30 to 40,000 people now on all of my doll topic videos now. And that's in just around a little over a year after making these videos. Now, I've got to say, that is like damn impressive. That is impressive. And since then, I mean, how many like subscribers that I have at the time when I first made my first iteration of this video? Like, oh no, like 25 subscribers at best, and now I have like 253. I mean, jeez. Anyway, so yeah. But other than that, there's also been, a lot of negative people as well. I mean, the vast majority of people that, are commenting on my videos, and even people outside of, the whole community, you know, there's also been, enough positive. But, every now and then I will get this negative Nancy. I will get this negative Nancy or Debbie Downer, whatever you want to call it, or as I like to just call them, dumbasses. I swear. And this one guy, yeah, I'm looking at it here, at the message he sent me on Facebook a while ago, he was, trying to shame me last year on, me owning a love doll because I deleted them on PSN. And I told his friends about how he's a big fat liar. And that's the reason why I did it. In fact, I even showed them the evidence that he was a big fat liar. And of course, he got pissed off about it and wanted to shame me of my love doll, habits, to say the least, and all that. But, I thought it was just so weird because I think in his mind, this guy just felt that he knew me. He felt that he could probably shame me for being a love doll owner. And I just think that's funny because if he really didn't actually know me, he would have known that I have absolutely no shame at all in what I do with my personal life. And what I do with my personal life and what other people do with their personal lives is really none of his damn business. It's really nobody's damn business, to say the least. But, you know, I know I'm saying to say the least a lot, but I just like saying that sometimes. Anyway. So, yeah, and then, I mean, every now and then, yeah, there'll be somebody that thinks I'm kind of weird because I have this kind of stuff. They'll assume that I'm like in love with this thing, and then I have to tell them that no, I don't think of this love doll as my girlfriend, and blah blah blah. You could say that sometimes I actually talk about this stuff quite often, and even off of the YouTube channel that I have here, I have to still educate people sometimes. I mean, I've had to educate my father, I've had to say my stepmother, my brother. My brother still thinks what I'm doing is weird. And I've even told them about how this kind of stuff is actually becoming popular nowadays. And my brother does not believe me. He thinks that not that many people get this kind of stuff. But the truth is that a lot more people are getting this kind of stuff nowadays. This isn't the 1990s anymore when me and my brother were younger. And these things maybe were invented and kind of invented in 1996. I think the first realistic love doll was made. I mean, it could be wrong, but I would say it's around that time period. But anyway, at least that is in America, at least. Well, never mind. That's kind of a weird history anyway. So, as far as other more kind of recent dealings that's been going on, there was another, I would say, really big, I would say, experience that happened a couple weeks ago. Yeah, man, I thought I was starting to get really sore there for a moment. So there's this really big experience again that happened on PSN. I mean, after that, I had to block that one guy like twice, and damn near got to a point where I had to report him to the authorities, actually. Then, skipping ahead like 6 months to a couple weeks now, or should I say 8 months, but anyway. So a couple weeks ago, I talked to this guy, about, the stereotypes and so on. I'm kind of educating him a bit. This guy is like 33 years old. He doesn't know very much about it. And I was telling him some things, and he was talking to me all like, well, if you get a fleshlight, that's okay, but if you get a love doll, that's just weird. And then I'm just like, well, I mean, either way, you're banging a piece of, rubber. And, a love doll, that's basically what they're used for. They're made for masturbation or sex. And, this guy, I could kind of tell that he wasn't really believing me. The guy was kind of childish at times. And he's like, oh, I saw one guy on TLC, this one black guy that was acting like his doll was his wife. And I said, is it Davy Katz? And he's like, oh, I don't know. It's like, yeah, is it Davy Cat on TLC? My strange addiction. Is that who it is? He's like, oh, I forget. It's like, oh my god. Like, yeah, it probably is. And he talked about a couple other things. I talked about a couple other things. they were joking around a bit and so on. And of course, at one point, we just stopped talking about it. But then the next morning, this came up. I was on my YouTube channel just checking up on the messages and comments, answering people's questions. And then I see 2 messages in the comments that basically say the similar thing. They say, freaking weird. New71 told me you are unstable. And the second one says, freaking weird. New71 told me you're crazy. Now, of course, that's a friend on PSN, New71, which I did talk to afterwards. And he talked to me about how they were making fun of me quite a bit last night. And were saying stuff about me like I was making excuses for being handicapped or mentally ill or so on and so forth. And of course, my thoughts were just, well, okay, so this is starting to get a little bit out of hand. This guy is starting to harass me. I mean, this wasn't the guy I even talked to the night before that. It was actually a stranger that he was talking to. And that stranger decided he thought it would be funny to harass me on YouTube. Which, of course, I did tell him that if I saw another message from him, that I was going to report him on YouTube, by the way. So, thankfully, I haven't seen another message from him since. And when I confronted him about it, he just quoted, he was drunk acting like a fool. And then I just sent a message back to him saying, well, then he needs to stop getting drunk. And then he said he got mad because News deleted him, and he liked News. He boosted for hours, sending friend requests, getting drunk and acting like a fool. The way he types, I swear. And I just said, yeah, News told me everything, actually, about what happened. And then he just quoted the saying, no, Boost deleted me and blocked me. I never acted a fool, never harassed anyone. I only said I'm tired of hearing about your sexuality with sex dolls. News told me to tell you that, and I did though my friend about you and your channel didn't expect that response. Yeah, right. Now, when it comes to stuff like that, when you see stuff like that, it means that the person with them is helping them feel comfortable with doing something like that. Now, if this stranger that I've never met before would have seen my channel, I mean, maybe he would have maybe made a comment, but he probably wouldn't have made that kind of comment unless, of course, the person with him, which of course was the person I talked to yesterday, or the day before, I mean, was making him feel more comfortable to do so. Because again, what he did was harassment. It literally is harassment. Especially when you do it repeatedly like that. And I just said, yeah, I wasn't going to talk about it so much anyway, but if you guys have any questions, feel free to, because there's more to it than just the sex part of it. And then this guy just goes off. He just won't stop. He's trying to turn it around on me, is what they call it. He just says, no, I have no questions, don't care, and don't want to know or hear about what you use to masturbate. It's none of my business, and forcing it upon my business is what I have an issue with. What don't you understand? I told you at least 3 times. He only told me frickin' once. I don't want to hear about it, and you just told me if I had any questions, it's okay to ask. I'll tell you right now, and this is for eternity, I have no questions. I don't care. I could care less about how comfortable you are on your sexuality. That is News defense for you. And yeah, he's just going off. And I'm just thinking, like, okay, so where the heck is this coming from? And he talks even more. How comfortable you are with your sexuality, I care less. And I don't want to hear about the product you use to masturbate every time. Man, I didn't even talk about masturbation at all. I mean, Jesus fucking Christ. And he just goes, I don't want to hear about the product you use. I play Fallout and you hope on. and I hope on, apparently. Please don't solicitation. It's my belief that it's weird, and I agree with Victor on it being weird and randomly talking to strangers about how. Oh, randomly talking to strangers. I mean, after playing with these people for over a month, I mean, it, being weird randomly talking to strangers about how you masturbate and products you use, I think it's weird for any sexuality to always be talking about that kind of stuff, even straight people. Yeah, right. And I finally just get frustrated with this guy, and I just send a message, man, I just told you I wasn't going to talk about it anymore. By the way, you only told me to stop once, which I did. Now, will you politely just shut the fuck up? And finally, after that, he finally shut up. After he was sending me those messages, I was just like, okay, like I've just had enough of this guy. I've even tried being nice to him, even though him and his friend were harassing me on YouTube on my channel. I tried being patient with him, and then he suddenly tried playing like the blame card on like how he's apparently a victim and how apparently I'm talking about masturbating to dolls all the time and how I'm like apparently I'm trying to force it on him and trying to force to change his opinion, you know, even though obviously this guy just doesn't know what the fuck he's talking about. It's really hard to offend me. The only times when people kind of offend me sometimes is when it's really obvious that they don't know what the hell they're talking about. And then they just keep on trying to go on with it like they do know what they're talking about. Just like this one time, I actually had an argument with a guy on the love dolls on what kind of material they were made out of. He tried to keep on saying that, these love dolls look like they're made out of like some kind of neat plastic or something. And I just told him straight up, these love dolls, on the site that I was showing him were made out of, a platinum-based silicone. He's like, yeah, fancy plastic. And I'm just like, that is, silicone is a rubber. And then he just kept on trying to go with it. Like he knew what he was talking about. Like, man, just look it up on the internet. What is silicone? And you will get the same answer out of all of the 1,000 comments and sites that you will get. They will all say that silicone is a rubber. And silicone isn't just used for love dolls, it's used for many, many things. It's kind of a harder version of silicone. And there's also TPE, thermoplastic elastomer, which has rubber infused with vinyl plastic. And, this guy just kept on trying to argue with me, even though he's never even heard of these love dolls before and was just now getting educated on them. But, it's just silly how, sometimes it just amazes me how childish these people are. And that one guy on PSN that I was just talking about, I just blocked him. I'd seriously had enough of this jackass. I mean, the guy is just a childish jackass. I mean, I just can't fucking believe it. Sometimes it's just crazy, but that's just how it is sometimes. I mean, he was probably the worst case that I had seen in a long time. He's the worst for that community that I used to work for. That guy just would not stop. Now, there's a difference between an opinion and a flat fact, as I'll call it. Now, what he was trying to do with me was that he was trying to state his opinion about this kind of thing. But this kind of, like, he was stating that, how should I put it? A guy having a love doll is weird. It's like, well, okay, that is kind of an opinion. But then he was trying to state stuff like, oh, all these love doll owners, they just have these dolls for, partners and blah, blah, blah. And they're like all the same. You know what I mean? And now it's just like, no. Like, not all these love doll owners are like that. They're not extremists. Some of these people that buy these love dolls, or a lot of them actually, they just have it for masturbation purposes. And he's like, oh, well, that's just your opinion. And I'm just like, man, that's just how it is. That is a flat fact. What you just said is not a fact. Not all love doll owners are like this. And this guy, he just would not fucking believe me. I mean, I'm certainly not like that. Shit, I mean, I even showed him proof that that's not true. And he still would not believe me. I swear to God, some people, either they just don't want to admit that they're wrong about something, or don't know something, or they are just fucking childish. I swear to God. But anyway, I would say that's about up to date with my experiences lately, as far as that goes. But if you guys have any more questions and comments, excuse me, I'll answer them for you, and I'll see you guys in the next video.